I'm Jayashree Kurup. I'm the editor of CIDC Nirman, and I have with me Otto from Reduct. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me and being here. And I must say this show is beyond expectation in terms of interest in our stuff, but also in the knowledge of the people attending.
So tell me about Reduct. What do you do?
Reduct has been around for 24 years, and we developed a technology to map new and existing infrastructure, because we found out that a lot of the GIS platforms run or operated by the utilities were out of date for all sorts of reasons. Yet that resulted in a lot of strikes on their network because people started digging in places where they did not expect certain utilities to be, and they turned out to be in that place anyway. Lots of damage, outages and stuff like that. And our mission is actually, we want to make the map in 30 years to be good. And in order for the map in 30 years to be good, we have to start today collecting accurate data. We cannot postpone it any longer, because every day we postpone that, the time frame is still 30 years. So our technology is novel in the sense that it's a gyroscope-based system. It goes through the pipe, and it has a very high frequency mapping technology. So we get a point per centimeter. With that information, we don't only get the as-built XYZ, but we can also calculate accurately the bend radius of a pipe, movement of a pipe over time, and other information.
And who's your client then?
The municipality, in countries where the municipality still owns the infrastructure, it will be the municipality. So in India, that will be a lot of time the case, but also the private companies, the gas companies, the oil companies, the telecom companies, anybody, any utility you can think of.
If you start mapping a city, do you map all the underground infrastructure, or is it for the telecom network, then the water network?
Well, it's very difficult to say, let's just do a telecom network for an entire city. The time that we logically get involved is either during installation of new infrastructure or during maintenance of existing. Those are the most, let's say, economical moments to do it. Now, of course, we can't wait to map an entire telecom network and then start on the next one. So it's all done at the same time. We have customers in all utility sectors, whether it's gas, water, wastewater, or data. So it's done in parallel. It's a bit of a question, in the end, the utility has to decide what they want and when they want it and when it's possible. That's not for us to decide. We're not barging in and saying, hey, we're going to map your network tomorrow. So it's a lot of in cooperation with the engineers within the utilities. A logical plan is made on what they want to have mapped and why.
If there is, say, Reliance, which wants its geo-cabling, there is Airtel, and there is Vodafone. Now, each of them comes to you individually in the same neighborhood. How does is there an overlap when you lay one? You know where once you've mapped the first network, then the second and the third. That's how it's happening in the city. So I'm just trying to understand, how does this technology work?
The question is, what was the strategy in the first place for the telecom operators to deploy their networks? Back in the early days, everybody wanted to have their own network, but at some point they got smart and they said, why don't we bundle our efforts? And if we do a horizontal drilling anyway, rather than pulling in 2 ducts from my network, why don't we pull in 10 ducts and everybody gets 2 and we'll share the cost? Now in that case, let's say you have a bundle of 10 ducts, and typically what happens is we will map one of them and they share the cost with 5. So it makes more sense. But it doesn't make any sense to do all 10 of them, because we know there is a bundle. The output will say we've mapped one pipe, but there is a bundle. So be aware that the other 9 are somewhere around this line. So take your precautions. It's, economically speaking, that's the most logical thing to do. Now, having said that, getting all these various operators to agree with each other is a totally different story, but that's not for now.
When, let's say a pipe rehabilitation job is happening, there is a drinking water supply somewhere above or below it, and there are some telecom networks and maybe a gas pipeline going through it. So in such an instance, how does your...
Again, I think a rehabilitation is probably the least invasive, because you're using an existing duct, so you don't really worry about what's around you because you're not going outside of the duct space that's there. I think it's more when you plan for a new horizontal drilling, for example, and you have to negotiate your way through the existing infrastructures, that is a more complex job for a contractor. Now, depending on who is commissioning the horizontal drilling, the existing owners will be forced or not to provide accurate data. And with that, I mean, if it's a government saying, I'm going to do something, usually they have to tell the government where they are. If it's a private company, they say, hey, I'll give you a map. It may be incorrect, and you just dig and, drill carefully. So it's a bit of a strange situation. It's always been a strange situation. And it's actually quite unfair that sometimes a contractor who is installing a new pipe is basing the planned route on false or faulty information, and if he hits something, it's his fault. But he got faulty information to start with. I've always found that a little bit odd, that no matter what happens, if there is a strike, it's always the contractor's fault, despite the fact that the owner of that particular damaged pipe said it was 3 meters to the left or to the right. And I think over time that will change too. But again, what requires that change is a better map of existing infrastructure. So we got to start at some point. In India, India is more or less greenfield for us in the sense that, we have done some work for Alliance in the past and for Gale, but those were all jobs. We are now, and this is one of the reasons we're here. We are looking for local partners to take it to the municipalities, have the discussions with them, have the long-term strategy plan. Because my technology is just a small piece in the puzzle. The issue is there has to be a larger picture, a larger plan. Go to the United States, you think it's one country. It's not. It's 55 different states with different rules, small differences, but actually when it comes down to it, it's quite a large impact on how you have to approach it or do your work. So it doesn't seem to be that different, but we always know that, and I've talked to a lot of people already in the last day and a half who came from all corners of the country, and they all say, yeah, but in my place things are different, So I have to trust them that that's true. But that's okay. We know that it's there. All we can do is to help the authorities, gain the understanding of the benefit of good data, and we'll see which format we then have to provide the technology or the service or whatever it is that they wish to have.
So when you do any one project, you have one bit of data, right? Yes. And that's data well documented and filed would help the city tremendously. Does that get done?
Well, that's a very good question, because, and that's not just India, that's almost everywhere in the world. The feedback, so the municipality gives the permit, so the utility wants to have something built. They make a plan and they submit it for a permit. The municipality studies the plan and they say, yes, you get a permit to do that. And that's where it ends. So the contractor, the utility then tenders it for contracting. The contractor does his work, but the utility never gets feedback on did they actually put it in the place where we permitted it. That feedback loop doesn't exist. Now we have a cloud-based facility developed whereby we can, on behalf of the municipality, start to maintain that data and compare it to what they permitted. Because the interesting thing is, next year somebody else comes in that same area, and the municipality will look at the previous permits and said, oh yeah, that one was over there, that was over there. Yeah, but you don't know for sure that it's actually there. Yeah, that's what you permitted, but is that what is as built? And that's where the feedback loop is always very much missing or very slow, or it's the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, as we say. So that's something that needs to improve in the total picture for us all to be able to make a better or get a better picture of what happens in what's present in the underground. It's not what happened. Nothing is happening there. It's just what's present in the underground. So that is something that I've always found very strange, because if you look at a municipality, if you want to build a building, you submit your design and they give permit. If you change one window, they'll come at you. Yeah. Yet for the underground, you can be 4 meters away from what you've permitted, and nobody can ask a question. It's a bit strange, but they have, a municipality fundamentally has the same responsibility to be a good house father underground than he has for above ground. But that's very difficult because you can't see it.
In fact, I think in smart cities, all this came to the fore. These problems came to it.
Yes.
Not necessarily solutions,
No.
but at least people are talking about it. And I think there are, the volume of infrastructure work that has been given out. There's water being given out. There's sewage.
There is a lot of money in it at the moment. Budgets are huge.
Never been.
And it's crazy how little of the budget goes to ASBIT. It's crazy. Yeah. But that's the only piece of paper that will be critical for the next 30 to 50 years of that pipeline. But it's kind of pushed to the corner.